NATO's deployment in Libya. Mission accomplished? In the interview, NATO Secretary General Fogh Rasmussen.
Mr. Rasmussen, Libya is free, Gaddafi is dead, more than 7 months after NATO started its mission there. Had you expected it to last so long?
I'm not surprised, and actually it's not that long. In a historical perspective, 7 months of operation is not that much. We have carried out this mission very effectively and in full accordance with the United Nations mandate.
Right now, the Libyan interim government is urging NATO to stay longer. The UN Security Council stopped the operation. What's your point of view? Shall NATO stay longer?
Already a week ago, we took a preliminary decision to terminate our operation on the 31st of October. Today's decision in the UN Security Council reflects that we have fully implemented our mandate. There is no longer a significant threat against the Libyan population. So it has paved the way for a termination of the operation, as we have already decided, on the 31st of October, and we stick to that decision.
But do you see any possible role NATO might play in a post-Gaddafi Libya?
Not a major role. Of course, if our assistance is requested by the new government in Libya, we can help the new authorities in the transformation of the Libyan society into democracy. For instance, when it comes to reforms of their defense and security sector, to put that under democratic control. We have a lot of expertise in that field, but I don't foresee a major role, but on request we can assist, for instance, when it comes to defense and security sector reform.
Critics say that NATO overinterpreted the UN mandate. Some even claim that NATO became the air force of the anti-Gaddafi rebels. What's your response to that?
I clearly dismiss these accusations. We implemented the UN mandate in full accordance with text and spirit. We have carried out this operation very carefully. Without confirmed civilian casualties. We have prevented a massacre on the Libyan people. And, of course, through that paved the way for a transition to a new democratic system. But all that has been within the limits of the United Nations mandate.
Lessons learned, something which is very important for NATO, drawing lessons from missions. Were the allies up to match this mission? Did they have enough ammunition? What's your assessment right now?
It is clearly a successful operation. We have fully implemented the United Nations mandate, protected civilians, and we had the resources and the assets that was necessary to carry out this operation successfully. And it's also a success story of European leadership within NATO. For the first time in the history of NATO, an operation was carried out not with American leadership, but we saw European allies and Canada provide the majority of assets. But having said that, it was also made visible that we couldn't have carried out this operation successfully without critical and essential assets provided by the United States.
Germany did not support the UN resolutions, and so it did not take part in the military operations. But there are media reports that the German Secret Service helped to trace Gaddafi. Can you confirm that?
We never comment on operational details, but the fact is that all 28 allies, including Germany, participated in this operation through our common structures, through our command structure, through common funding. I also appreciate that Germany, despite the fact that Germany did not provide assets directly to our operation. Germany demonstrated some flexibility at the beginning of this operation by switching AWACS crews from the Mediterranean area to Afghanistan, which freed up AWACS crews in Afghanistan so they could take part in the operation in Libya. This operation was really a clear demonstration of strength and solidarity within our alliance.
Secretary General, we are meeting here in Berlin, where the government has just announced major reductions in the German armed forces. Can the future Bundeswehr still meet its obligations within NATO?
Yes, indeed. I've had very good discussions with Defense Minister de Maizière, and based on these conversations, I have no doubt whatsoever that the German Bundeswehr will continue to live up to its obligations within our alliance. Actually, what is going on now in Germany is a transformation of the armed forces, which is fully in line with our philosophy of creating more flexible, more mobile armed forces, less of the static structures. So I think the very comprehensive defense reform in Germany fully lives up to NATO standards.
There are troop reductions and saving schemes in basically all NATO countries. Is perhaps the financial crisis for the time being NATO's most powerful enemy?
You may be right. It is at least a challenge. But we have also provided a clear answer to how we can address this period of economic austerity. And the answer is what I call smart defense, a smarter way of spending defense money. And the smarter way of spending money is through multinational cooperation. Instead of pursuing purely national solutions, we should help each other, pool and share resources. And that's a way to make sure that we can continue to have the necessary military capabilities in the future, despite the period of economic austerity.
Finally, let's take a look at Afghanistan, NATO's largest operation. 10 years after it all began, now the pullout has started. Is mission already accomplished?
No, we have still a job to do in Afghanistan, but we have provided a very clear roadmap for a transition to lead Afghan responsibility all over Afghanistan. We started in July this year, handing over responsibility to the Afghans in 7 provinces and districts representing 25% of the population. Soon we will hand over more provinces and districts, and this process will continue and be completed by the end of 2014. And during the same period of time, the role of our forces, our troops in Afghanistan will change from combat into support. We will stay committed also beyond 2014, but in a supporting role, train and educate Afghan security forces.
NATO Secretary General Fogh Rasmussen, thank you very much for joining us on DW TV.
Thank you. You're welcome.